African Union mission in Somalia, Amisom, has been operating for over 13 years in one of the world's most complex and challenging security environments. It's one of the many international actors that has been supporting the federal government of Somalia to stabilize the country. Since its deployment in March of 2007, Amisom has been credited with numerous achievements, among which is the successful protection of the transitional federal government that was led by President Sharif Sheikh Ahmed from 2009 to 2012. Amisom also reduced the areas under al-Shabaab control following months of urban warfare that pushed the armed group out of Mogadishu and its environs between August 2011 and May 2012. As Amisom extended beyond Mogadishu and garnered more manpower from troop-contributing countries or TCCs of Burundi, Djibouti, Kenya, and Ethiopia, the mission pushed most of al-Shabaab forces out of several dozen urban settlements in central Somalia. This provided respite for the harsh rules of al-Shabaab's governance and opened up the possibility for more local authorities to re-emerge. By providing transportation for participants and security at numerous conferences, Amisom helped facilitate the process of establishing South Central Somalia's new regional administration of Jubaland in 2013, Southwest in 2014, Galmudug in 2015, Hirshabelle in 2016. It would be impossible for Somalia to build a federal system of government without such regional entities. During 2012 and 2016, Amisom played a pivotal role in securing two electoral processes that established new federal governments in September 2012 and early 2017, respectively. The Ugandan contingent under Amisom, together with the Somali National Army SNA in 2019, launched Operation Badbado, capturing four key bridge towns of Sabidanole, Barire, El Salini, and Audegele, and culminating the capture of Janale in March of 2020. Speaking at the Amisom Sector 1 headquarters in Mogadishu, Brigadier General Richard Otto, the Amisom Sector 1 contingent commander, said counter-offensive operations that resulted in the capture of major bridge towns, especially of Janale in the lower Shabelle region of Somalia earlier this year, had dealt a huge blow to al-Shabaab.
Janale was very, very significant, both to Amisom and also to the enemy. On the enemy side, it was their headquarters. And also it had the population of over 30,000. That's a big population, and as you might be aware, the enemy gets money through taxing the population. And also when we captured Janale, we found a very big, I would call it local factory for manufacturing improvised explosive devices. And since Janale was captured by Amisom, the situation has changed completely because al-Shabaab is no longer free to cross River Shabelle from the northern part and come to the southern part, because that was the only bridge remaining on River Shabelle, which is under the enemy.
Following a string of defeats inflicted by Amisom, al-Shabaab resorted to using improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, and shelling mortars, which have often landed in populated centers, causing more harm to innocent civilians.
Al-Shabaab has really lost ground, and they don't have a particular area where if you go you find Al-Shabaab only. They always mix with the people, they hide within the population. And it is true, people with Al-Shabaab, there is a gap. I give an example of Janale. Al-Shabaab now, they started indirect fire. They used mortars to just, sell the population. Why would they kill civilians? What does it mean? So that means people have turned against them.
With al-Shabaab support waning among the population, Amisom intensified activities aimed at strengthening the cooperation between the military and the population by conducting quick impact projects, which are handled not only at the mission headquarters, but also at contingent level. A case in point was the rehabilitation of the road between the airfield and the seaport in Barawe town.
We did it because that road was now almost cut off. And then the road after capturing Janale, we mobilized the population, we supported them with our own equipment, and the road is operational. And then this pandemic, what are we giving to the population? Through Caritas and the Embassy of Italy, the Italian embassy here, they provided us with the various assorted PPEs. And as Sector 1, we went and distributed them, right from Malazera 1 here, Seaport, up to Lower Sabele, including Marca and also Afgoye. Yeah, these are the things we have been doing. And we have been meeting the leaders. And I think in February, we did some cleaning around this market called Marine, okay? Cleaning the market, removing the dirt, and also we treated the population. So see, these are some of the civil military activities that we have been doing and we shall always continue to do.
General Oto also said that a key factor in the fight against al-Shabaab has been the increasing capabilities of the Somali National Army, as seen by the SNA's capacity to fight and hold ground without Amisom. The increasing role of SNA, in line with the revised Amisom concept of Operation CONOPS 2018-2021, is also guided by the Somali Transitional Plan. The Somali Transitional Plan is a comprehensive guide developed by the federal government of Somalia and its partners for the transfer of security responsibility to Somalia's national security forces ahead of Amisom's anticipated exit from the country.
So with SNA, we are happy that they are now strong enough, especially in holding some of the liberated areas, like I've told you about the towns which were captured last year. They are now under the Somali National Army. So as Amisom, we shall ensure that we continue mentoring them through joint operations, through training, through other operations like patrols, the way we conduct CIMIC activities, the population, they are also doing it. So that is, it goes back to our mandate. And it's very important that we jointly work with the SNA as we look at the exit strategy.
Since December of 2017, Amisom has been reducing its troop numbers in line with the relevant UN Security Council resolutions. Earlier this year, Amisom had to reduce troop numbers by 1,000, spread across all 5 troop-contributing countries. The Ugandan contingent that is in charge of Sector 1, which includes Lower Shabelle region and Mogadishu, was not spared.
We also drew down by certain numbers. And definitely when you're drawing down, it means you have to reduce the manpower. And sometimes this would call for collapsing some forward operating base or the location of the UPDF. But this one, we did not do it. Because number one, we were looking at the population. If you collapsed a location which is under the UPDF, who will take care of the population?
Brigadier General Oto says his troops have remained steadfast and continue to implement the mission's mandate despite reducing troop numbers and the disruptions brought by COVID-19's pandemic earlier this year. Additionally, due to the global coronavirus pandemic, Sector 1 has had to put on hold the rotation of its troops, both in and out of the mission. In June of 2020, the contingent commander of Uganda troops, General Oto, traveled to the coastal town of Barawe in Lower Shabelle, about 208 kilometers from Mogadishu, to assess the morale and condition of the Ugandan soldiers there. He noted the situation had not affected operations or dampened the morale of the troops.
I had troops who were supposed to rotate out, but they have not rotated out because of this same situation I'm telling you. Most of the countries have still closed their airspace, including the international airports and the border post. But this one is aimed at protecting and controlling the spread of disease from every country. So my troops have been informed and they are aware. It has not affected their morale.
As the world battles with the global health pandemic of COVID-19, the African Union Mission in Somalia, Amisom, has put in place solid interventions and preventative measures to contain the virus while concentrating on its mandate to ensure peace and security in Somalia.
We're also trying to implement the lockdown here in the camp. For example, when people are entering the base camp, how do we handle it? When you go around the gate, you find the thermal gun to take the temperature. We have the hand washing facilities. We don't allow vehicles moving here to carry so many, they must also practice social distancing when they're in the vehicles. And even in offices, we have to decongest some stuff. So all this is meant to mitigate. These are the measures.
General Otto said his troops are maintaining all their locations, continuing with offensive missions against al-Shabaab, and are protecting population centers and maid supply routes in his area of operation.
The vehicles continue to move, and even the civilians' vehicles, they continue to move from Lower Sabele into Mogadishu, and from Mogadishu back to those towns, including Janale, Maraka, up to Barawa.
Overall, Amisom has made progress on its 3 current strategic objectives, namely, reducing the threat posed by al-Shabaab and other armed groups, providing security to enable Somalia's political process and efforts at reconciliation, and handing over its security responsibilities to the Somali security forces.